This is a brief demonstration to show some of the capabilities that can be introduced by using OpenSpirit inside of your ArcGIS Portal web application. In this case, we built a web application that uses a couple of OpenSpirit widgets to be able to send OpenSpirit GIS and data selection events to other listening applications. You can see we have a number of layers in this map. We have layers representing wells, 2D seismic, horizons, 3D seismic. That's all referencing data that OpenSpirit can connect to, data that might reside in OpenWorks, Studio, PPDM, Petrel, Kingdom, any of the data sources that OpenSpirit connects to. We also have some outlines of oil fields here and some pipelines, both gas and oil pipelines displayed in this map. We've zoomed in an area of interest here. So now we can go ahead and invoke the OpenSpirit widgets to be able to browse the data and drill down and see what data is associated with selected seismic lines or wells. So let's bring up the OpenSpirit data widget, and we'll go ahead then and select some layers, and immediately displays those selected wellbores in this dialog here. And we can select a number of wellbores and then drill down and see what logs exist there. So that made a query back to the underlying data store to find out what logs exist. We also see what PICs or formation tops exist. We also can see for the selected seismic volumes, selected seismic surveys, which volumes exist. It looks like we've got a couple of different time stacked volumes there. We also had some horizons associated with the seismic survey. So if we want to, we can actually connect to these underlying data stores and browse the data inside of the OpenSpirit Connect web viewers. So let's do that. Let's go back to our wellbores. Let's say we want to look at inside of a log track view and look at what logs and what formation tops exist, and let's go ahead and plot those. That brings up our data viewer here, and the data viewer allows us to display a conventional log track. I can open up one of these wells. Let's expand so we get a little bit more space here. We can look at different curves. Let's drag our sonic curve on here. It's going back to an underlying data source. You can see in this case it came from OpenWorks. We can also get our gamma ray curve here. And then we can do some simple cross plots or histogramming of the data. Let's do a histogram of that gamma ray curve. And let's do a cross plot between that gamma ray and that sonic log. Let's go ahead and do a cross plot. And now we have interactions between all these windows. As I move my cursor in the histogram window, we see it moving in all the other windows. So we have the ability to very easily browse data from any project that OpenSpirit can connect to. Let's go back and let's select some other data types here. Let's say we want to select some seismic volumes. Let's look at one of these volumes here. Select the volume and plot the seismic volume. That causes my viewer to go off via OpenSpirit and request a seismic section. In this case, it's going to get the middle inline from that seismic volume, and we can scroll through here, successfully bringing in different inlines. We also can bring up an orthogonal direction, bring up a cross line. Let's bring a cross line somewhere in the middle of the volume. Let's change the color scale here. Now it's gone off via OpenSpirit and extracted that seismic data. Again, this data is coming from OpenWorks. It could have been coming from Studio, Kingdom, EPOS, any of the data stores that OpenSpirit connects to for seismic data. We also can see if there's any horizon or faults that might be available in this area. So let's go back to our data view here, and you notice we did have some seismic horizons. Let's go ahead and select the basement horizon, indicate we want to plot that. And that causes that horizon to be available now to be plotted on top of my, let's change that color scale. It's a little bit hard to see the red. Let's go back to the grayscale here. There's that seismic basement horizon posted on top of that cross line. And again, as we page through extracting different vertical sections, we update the intersecting horizon. So that's a way of allowing you to preview the seismic and well related data inside of the graphical viewers or just in the table view here. We also can then send this data to other applications. Let's say that we are a Petrel user, and I have Petrel actually running here. And let me try to give myself a little more space here. I have Petrel running, and I've connected to OpenSpirit, and it's listening. So if I want to, I can send that same information. Let's go ahead and send that seismic volume that we just selected a moment ago to Petrel. Let's also go ahead and send the volume, the horizon. Let's select these wells. Let's send those. And Petrel is receiving all these selection events, and there's that basement horizon in there. We also sent a couple of wells. We also sent that seismic volume. So we can very easily do the selection inside of our web browser and send it to Petrel. So it's a very easy way of using your web-based GeoPortal application to preview data and then send it to other applications for use. We can also send it to Spotfire. Spotfire also is listening for OpenSpirit selections. So if I do the same thing, I can send to Spotfire my selections of these wells, and will cause those wells to be imported into Spotfire. It causes Spotfire to create a data table, bring in all the directional surveys of those wells. I also want to bring in the logs. I can select any of these logs. Let's bring in all the log values into Spotfire. I go ahead and I send the logs. That's going to cause the log data to be in Spotfire. So now it brought in 22,000 rows of those selected logs. If I want to bring in seismic data, I can bring in the header information of that seismic volume. That again goes over to Spotfire. So we can send this to any application that's listening for OpenSpirit data selection events. The last thing we can do with the OpenSpirit widgets is we can also send any selected GIS features. If we go back to our map, let's turn off all the layers except for the oilfield outlines. And I have a feature class here that I think actually is stored in SDE representing the oilfield outlines, and it also has information on what the total volume is of oil in place in these different fields. If I go ahead and say I want to select these, I'm going to select all these different fields. My two applications are listening. Spotfire received a selection event and got all the information from those fields, put it into the Spotfire table, and also available for analysis in Spotfire. I also have Petrel still listening in the background here. So Petrel did the same thing. If I maximize Petrel, we can see that if we go to our map window here, let's turn on our GIS tab, we now have brought in all the oil fields into Petrel along with all their attributes. So you can use any of the capabilities inside of Petrel to interact with and post or use those attributes that were brought in. So again, a very simple demonstration showing you some of the power introduced by tying your web GIS application into OpenSpirit, utilizing OpenSpirit widgets that can be easily added to your own application using the web app builder, and in the background it's using the OpenSpirit web services to connect to the underlying data stores, and then using OpenSpirit to connect to other desktop applications.